Greetings to everyone who's tuning in. This is another episode that we have in the Entree series, where we talk to people who are pursuing their higher studies in very prestigious universities, and we aim to bring you insights from every possible career path that you would like to pursue, and understand what it requires to get to that point. So today with us we have Anirudhdha Chandrashekar. So he has personally been a mentor for me in pursuing my interests and having the right direction in terms of how to go about things. So, very interestingly, he has been pursuing his master's in supply chain management in Georgia Tech. And right now, he has been placed in WD, Western Digitals. And we would love to hear his insights. So, welcome on the podcast. Thank you so much for carving out time and getting yourself to come here.
Thank you, Nishit. I look forward to this conversation.
Yeah. All right. So, it's very interesting to me because you studied in B.M.S, which is a college in Bangalore. For those of you in NITK who don't know B.M.S, and you were pursuing industrial engineering and management as your bachelor's degree, right? So, talk to me about how your experience in B.Tech of engineering has been, and how it's different from what you are experiencing as engineering in your master's degree.
Well, I think it's been extremely different. The experience has been different.
Yeah.
Of course, just talking about my 3 years of bachelor's, that's in industrial engineering, leaving out the first year.
Right.
I think it was a broader field.
Got it.
I wasn't specializing in a particular field,
Yeah.
so I was getting introduced to a lot of subjects and a lot of topics, but I wasn't going into any of the details.
Yeah.
At times, I liked something more than the other, but then I was forced to
Got it.
do everything,
Got it.
and that demotivates you at times. You
Correct.
don't want to do something you're not interested in. Uh, but overall, I think that helped me in understanding what is my interest and what I want to pursue. I think probably I might be wrong here, but if you ask any person who's pursuing industrial engineering who did their bachelor's in industrial engineering in India,
Yeah.
it's probably they couldn't get mechanical engineering. That's why they're doing industrial engineering.
Yeah.
That's
True.
that is the common story you
Right.
can hear,
Yeah.
and that was my story. But
Got
I don't want to be talking for everyone else. But for me, that's how it
it.
has
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't get mechanical engineering. I tried. I thought I could get a branch change, but I couldn't.
Got it.
Uh, I couldn't get that as well for various reasons.
Yeah.
But I stayed in industrial engineering, and that's when I started enjoying it. And and I got introduced to a lot of things in industrial engineering, like talking about manufacturing, operations research,
You're right.
supply chain,
Right.
statistics.
Yeah.
So a lot about process improvement, and process improvements can take place through various methods. So 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 this way it gives you a good understanding of what industrial engineering is all about. That
Got it.
was important, but then the lack of flexibility
Right.
it was is a disadvantage. The advantage is you get to see everything, but the disadvantage is you don't get to take a particular field or particular specialization forward.
Yeah.
Um, so the masters has been a bit different for me because here I'm doing exactly what I want. I am not stepping away from anything.
Yeah.
The thing about my masters is it's masters in supply chain engineering.
Yeah.
So it is not a generalized master degree like masters in industrial engineering.
You're
If
right.
in case you're doing masters in industrial engineering, you have options to again specialize in various fields like
Got it.
operations research, or supply chain, or
Got
manufacturing, or quality based on your interest. But since I got an admitted master's in supply chain program, I do not have much flexibility as to what I want to do. I need to focus on supply chain only.
it. Got it. Got
So this way it has been a bit different. I have been focusing on a particular field and just been probably gaining more insights and understanding that subject to a
it. Yeah.
greater detail.
Yeah.
So definitely the experience has been very different.
Yeah.
Both I think when you look at it at the end of the day, both has gone its own advantages and the disadvantages. It just
Definitely.
depends on whether you made the right decision. If in case I didn't like supply chain and I got admitted to this program, I could have probably had an extremely negative answer right now,
Definitely.
because because I cannot move out of this field, and
Yeah.
I just need to accept it and do whatever it takes to complete this program.
Yeah, definitely. Makes a lot of sense to me because the way it's structured in India is that you're not pursuing a particular career option or a domain because of your interest. You're basically thrown into engineering most of the times, as you told, in a particular branch or particular stream. And you basically have to navigate yourself, try to find your own interests. And that is one of our main concerns in peer support communities when we're trying to develop, where you have the right mix of lateral approach where you get to explore all of that, and then you also have the right approach to take a deep dive in whatever you're interested in and try to explore what that is, and then if that's the right career choice for you to pursue your higher studies. So I think what you will be telling will be helping a lot of students on campus, because your experience is very similar to students who are in NITK, because we're all coming from that same Indian education system, so it's very similar to the experience that we've also had. So it's very interesting to me. um, Also, and now that you're pursuing your supply chain management in a very prestigious university, Georgia Tech, tell me more about the university itself and what are the opportunities it provides. How are you liking it there? How's the peer group in college? And would love to hear more about the college itself.
Well, one word, probably two words: extremely competitive.
Got
Uh,
it.
initially when I came here, there's this. I'm not sure if you heard of this. There's something called as imposter syndrome,
Yeah,
where you feel like
yeah, yeah.
where you feel like you just got into this place by a mistake.
Correct.
Uh, you
Yeah,
don't deserve to be here. So that was the same case for me as well.
yeah,
I just I used to see everyone around like just looking at the Indians as well who was in Georgia Tech.
yeah,
Most of them, I think 90 to 95% of them are from one of the IITs, NITs or bits.
yeah.
Anyone you go talk to anyone, it's just IIT, NIT bits. So initially, I still remember this. In my first orientation session, we are asked to introduce ourselves. So all we had to do is just tell our name and the college we came from.
Got it.
So the professors and everyone, they knew IIT, NIT bits, but then when I said B.M.S, they took a moment to figure out where that college is from.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's actually looking back now. That's a great experience for me actually.
definitely,
It
definitely.
helps you compete with some great people who have done some great things. So that way it keeps you on your toes always. Uh, it helps you collaborate and grow along with them. You
Definitely.
may not be as good as them, but that's okay. But you're
Yeah,
all yeah, but you're getting better. That's what is
yeah,
important.
yeah.
You so you don't want to be the smartest one in the classroom.
Yeah,
That way your learning curve is
very
very
steep.
slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to have a good learning curve. So you want to ensure that you have some good competition, healthy competition. That way it helps you succeed. But of course, Georgia Tech, the experience has been tremendous, and I think looking at everyone and seeing what they do to to be successful in their own careers, or how they look at success is something which was really interesting for me.
Got it.
And I think and and I think especially if you look at the masters students, they all have come right after bachelors, or probably with 1 or 2 years of work experience, or sometimes more than that as well. So
Correct.
everyone's focused, and they get extremely serious. It's not like bachelors. so
Yeah,
so the pressure is even more, and
yeah,
you're putting in a lot of money as well.
definitely.
So everyone wants to find a job. Everyone wants to be at their best, so that
Definitely.
they can get whatever they want.
Yeah,
So so that way the competition is healthy. The vibe is great. You have
definitely.
this great positive, uh, like like you need to go get it. That sort of a vibe is
Yeah.
is what you get. But at times you also feel like you made a huge mistake. But then when you just stay patient, and when you look back, I think it's been great.
Yeah,
But other than that, I think the campus is brilliant, and engineering at Georgia Tech. I think I don't have to say this. It's one of the very few public universities which competes with the best of the best in the US and in the world. So it's been highly ranked. It's probably even just for engineering in general. I think even in the US it's top 5, top 6. I might be wrong here. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
sources I'm looking at.
yeah,
But Joe, just don't take me by my word. But then I think it's ranked pretty high, and
yeah,
especially
definitely.
the IE program.
Yeah,
Of course, the rankings change with each department,
right.
but I know the ISY, the Industrial and Systems Engineering School, is ranked number one, I think, for the last 29 years. So they've been doing some great work. So
Yeah,
the entire experience of being a part of this Georgia Tech community has been great. It's
yeah.
been, I would probably say it's been a dream. So I was extremely excited when I came here to see how things work here.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And what I really love about this is that there's so much of scope for personal growth in what you said, and there are so many indicators of what you just said, which shows that you've come a very far and a long way from where you started off, and that growth in terms of your learning curve, in terms of your personal journey, is very inspiring. Uh, Also, right now, since you are pursuing a very specific coursework, which is supply chain management, um, tell me more about the flexibility that you have when you're choosing the course and when you're choosing coursework associated with that course. And if you do have some concerns where you would like to pivot and explore more other career options, how would students go about it at Georgia Tech?
Uh, well, there are two ways of answering this question. One is flexibility with respect to what your course offers,
Yeah.
and flexibility with respect to what your visa offers. One is one is a one is more on one is a different type of
Yeah.
issue altogether. You cannot
Correct.
you cannot come here with a certain plan and then change and then do whatever you want.
Correct. Correct.
So there are a lot of visa restrictions of which prevents you from doing anything and everything.
Got it.
So just first talking about the important aspect, that is the course and the flexibility with respect to the program that you get admitted to.
Yeah.
I think that's very well defined. So if you end up in let's say masters in computer science or masters in industrial engineering,
Yeah.
those are more those are courses which lets you explore more, which gives you some sort of flexibility.
Right.
So how most of those courses work is there'll be different groups, and they'll say
Okay.
that you have a minimum requirement in these groups, and once you're done with that, you can graduate.
Oh, okay.
But you have a 30 credits to finish your master's program.
Hmm.
So once you're done with the minimum requirements, you could probably take any course. It
Yeah.
could be in data analytics. It could be it could be in something related to environmental studies. Or it could be
Got it.
anything
Yeah.
and everything. So
That's
it could
great.
be
That's great.
related to MBA, business,
Hmm.
uh,
Oh,
and management, anything. But
yeah,
then you need to get those minimum requirements.
definitely.
And at the same time, so many people, what they do is, if they're extremely interested to do certain things, they would uh, they would keep these minimum requirements till the end and do the courses which they want to. So even though you would have finished more than 30 credits, you cannot graduate because you haven't finished your degree requirements.
Yeah, yeah.
So that way you can make your course flexible, but just that it comes at an additional cost. If
Got
you
it.
have tuition waivers, and if you're a student, and if you're working in the campus as a teaching
Yeah,
assistant or research assistant, you get tuition waivers and things. So that helps. So that
yeah,
way you can waive off your tuition and get some free courses. But if not, it's expensive. So
definitely.
so that way people think as to uh, as to whether they want to do a particular course or not. But
Yeah.
you can, let's say for example, a particular course is a mandatory course, and it's required to graduate. You can keep that till the end,
Okay.
and
Oh, okay.
and and you can do probably 60 credits as well.
Got it.
But one thing is, once you get admitted to a course and then you want to shift to a different course,
Yeah.
then I am not sure about how the visa works, and if you get
Yeah.
if you get
Yeah.
to change the course within the same college. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I think you might have to get your new F1, because your internship, that's your CPT period, that's your work permit for your internship,
Right.
and your work permit post your master's is all defined, or is all determined
Okay.
and defined based on your master's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Okay. Makes sense.
what I mean by determined and defined is whether you have a work permit, and whether you have the duration of that work permit is also determined based on your coursework.
Got
So
it.
STEM courses, that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, have
Yeah, yeah.
1 + 2 years of extension.
Right,
So
right.
in total, you have 3 years of OPT.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that way there are a lot of visa restrictions. So I don't think I can clearly answer
Yeah, yeah.
how much
Makes sense.
flexibility you have in your courses. But with respect to engineering in general,
Yeah,
you could probably come here, do some MSCS, and then do a lot of other courses, and then ensure that you have some minimum requirements. That's for
got it.
anything. That's for everyone actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So even if I'm doing now masters in supply chain engineering, I have I think 30 credits of mandatory courses itself.
Yeah.
But then few of those courses are not offered in all the semesters. So
Oh,
during my
okay, okay.
fall semester, I had only 9 credits of mandatory courses.
Got it.
But Georgia Tech, I think one of the very few colleges which has 12 credits of minimum requirement. Most
Oh,
of the other colleges would have 8 or 9. Georgia Tech has
makes
12.
sense.
So
Yeah.
I had to take 3 more credits in order to be a full-time student. Because I'm an international student, I need to
Right,
have 3 credits
right.
and show that I'm a full-time student here. I cannot do a reduced course load
Got it.
uh, during any of my semesters. Probably during my graduating semesters, I have a permit if my academic advisor approves it because I'm graduating. But I
Yeah.
think you might have another reduced course load because of during the first semester, because you're just new to the education system. But other than that,
Right.
you have to do 12 credits. So that way, I'll be graduating with 33 credits. So I took an extra course
Got
based
it.
on my
Makes sense.
interest. So that way you can do what you're interested in. It just comes at extra cost, and you
Makes
just have
sense.
to plan it well to ensure
Yeah.
that you finish,
Yeah.
because there are visa restrictions as well. So once you're done, you graduate.
Correct. Correct.
You cannot finish your 30 credits, whatever is needed, and then continue to just pay tuition and try to do 60 more credits. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need to keep something in the end, so that you don't do it uh, till you until you reach a point that you want to graduate now.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So there is flexibility, but it comes at extra cost.
Makes sense. I mean, that's a lot of insight. Very comprehensive review of the whole process, and it's great that we also have people talking about visa and other restrictions that, as undergrad students, we have no idea about. It's something that you experience only after putting yourself in that situation. So thank you for that. And
And just one point, things
yeah,
things
sure.
keep changing, rules keep
Correct.
changing.
Yeah.
So don't take me by my word. I may not be right. There's a lot of things, a lot of
Yeah.
rules. So
Yeah.
I reach out to my international advisor at Georgia Tech, and
Right.
and they are experts who know what's changing, what's happening with
Yeah. Yeah.
USCIS,
Yeah.
Department of Homeland Security, Customs
Yeah.
and Immigration.
Got it.
So things keep changing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not. So my
Yeah.
my answers at times may not be right with respect to
Definitely,
visa.
definitely. I mean, as of now, it's definitely relevant to students, and I mean, we'll look at how things change, and more or less the basic structure that they frame in terms of how your admission is structured and the job corresponding to that thing is structured will more or less be similar according to me. So, nevertheless, we really appreciate the insights that you gave. It's very, very, very comprehensive. All right. So. We all know that basically to get admissions, the biggest pointer on your or one of the biggest pointers on your resume will be your GRE score. So just give us a few insights that you think is something that is not mentioned generally or which personally worked out for you very well when you were preparing for GRE.
Well, I don't think I did a great job in GRE. So my take on GRE is, when you have a good score, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But when you don't have a good score, it matters. So
Oh,
what I
makes a
mean
lot of
by that
sense.
is when you have a good score, it's like something like a minimum requirement. You have it, okay, great. Now let's see how the candidate is.
Correct.
But when you don't have it, that could be a cause of a rejection. But then you never know. No one knows how the admission process takes place. These are just
Yeah.
experiences and stories you hear from others and you
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So these are, no one knows the right answer. But I feel GRE something like that. Um, for any with respect to engineering, I think I can restrict myself just to that, because that's what I know, I think I know a lot about. So quant is something which is extremely important.
Correct.
So quant is something that's extremely important, and vocabulary is something which you need to ensure that you cross that
Barrier.
minimum barrier, or probably that minimum requirement for each university. It changes with every university. So
Okay.
anyone who's preparing for GRE, there are a lot of people saying a lot of things. So a lot of help you can get from YouTube and from
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
and the applications and different sources. But my take is just one simple thing: focus on quant. Many people focus on vocabulary because
Yeah,
quant is pretty easy for Indians, and uh, but focus on quant as well, and ensure
yeah,
that you are able to probably, in case you're really good, you could probably get 170 on 170, or try and
definitely,
ensure that you
definitely.
get a brilliant score, probably
Yeah,
165 plus.
yeah,
That way you know that you're good for engineering, and probably
yeah.
vocabulary is something you can work on. And so that was my approach.
Makes
So
sense.
I think it worked to a certain extent.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, also apart from the GRE scores, it's really important on how you present yourself to the admissions board and how you are structured your CV or resume and your SOPs and LORs and all of that. So, just give us a little bit of insight about what were some of the pointers that you made sure that you put in a lot of effort on and focused to make sure that you present your best self in terms of the application process, which describes your work experience, your projects, your internships, and all of that.
Well, so this is how I would look at the admissions. GRE is something like a minimum requirement, or something like a
Yeah,
requirement.
yeah,
Once you have got a good score for the particular university, you can just remove it out.
right.
Uh, the next, the main thing for any admission is SOP, and
Yeah,
then I would say LOR, and
right.
then resume.
Okay.
So that's the priority I would put in. So these are just my personal opinions. So so I first feel like you need first, like, SOP is the most important thing. You need to first convince them that why you want to do this,
Yeah,
and why do you want to do it there.
right.
Uh, for my let's take my example. Why do I want to do supply chain engineering, and why do I want to do it at Georgia Tech? Why
Yeah,
not anywhere else, and why come to
right.
the US and study? So the main problem which I see, or probably which I feel people might do, is to read a lot of SOPs before they write their own SOP.
Okay.
So one thing I feel they do check is, in GRE you have a separate section. I don't know what it's actually called, but where you write essays and stuff, where you get a
Hmm.
score out of 5 or 6, or I think
Yeah,
5. I'm
yeah. The writing section. Yeah,
so yeah, the writing section. I don't know. I think it's graded based on 5 or 6.
yeah.
So they want to. So they might look at that score as well and see that if in case you got a 4.5, and they see an SOP which is not great, they would
Yeah,
assume that it has been uh, SOP has been written from by someone else.
got it.
But
Got it.
in case you got extremely less in the writing section, and your
Yeah,
SOP is great,
fabulous. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they see probably a Georgia Tech, they see around 2,000 applications for a particular program, and they admit
Makes sense.
50, 20,
Yeah,
30.
yeah.
So the amount of experience they have is tremendous, and they've been
Makes
doing it
sense.
for years.
Definitely.
So they know the tips and tricks every candidate
Yeah.
uses. So what I advise, or what I did, is to first write my own SOP, irrespective of however bad it is,
Okay.
because once you read a particular SOP, it's difficult to think different.
Yeah. Think originally also.
So think originally. So you get influenced, you feel that's
Yeah.
great, and you want to include the same
Correct.
thing here.
Yeah.
So I would first say, write your own SOP,
Yeah.
get it to a decent, probably a decent stage, and
Yeah.
then review it, show it to a few people, and
Yeah.
try and ensure that even when I review SOPs, I do not write anything for anyone. I just
Makes sense.
ask, I just ask a few questions. For example, if they're talking about their work experience and they're talking about
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
I just quickly say, what did you achieve from it?
Got it. Got it.
How is it related to the course? So ask the right questions. All they have to do is just answer those questions.
Right.
That way you have a great SOP. SOP is basically like, you have a set of questions, you just need to answer them.
Yeah.
But just that, you just probably accumulate all your answers and make it look good. That's
Correct.
an SOP
Correct.
according to me.
That's correct.
So that's what I did. So what I did is, I first wrote my SOP, absolute blunder. and then I got it reviewed, multiple versions, probably 20,
Wow.
25 edits. And then
Oh,
once I reached the decent stage, I started reading a lot of my SOPs. Uh,
got
you know, my sister's SOP was also there. I did
yeah,
not look at it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I and this is what she told me. It's actually her advice. I did not read it.
Got it.
So then I read her SOPs, got some inputs, and
Makes
then read
sense.
other SOPs, and then
Yeah,
got some more inputs, and then tried to bring in those in my SOP. So basically, my SOP is already there, and I'm trying to make it better. I'm
right.
not using someone else's SOP and bringing in my influences in it. I'm
Definitely.
having my SOP and bringing others' influences in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that I'm not sure if I was clear,
Yeah, it
but
makes a
then
lot of sense.
like
Makes a lot of sense.
so I feel SOP is the most important thing because your LOR is something what your professor gives, and
Yeah,
he or she has been giving a lot of LORs.
right,
Most of the times, most of the professors have been giving a lot of LORs.
right,
So they have a similar structure, and they might have a similar take on every student.
right,
So
right.
so you cannot expect them to think differently and give you a very specialized or probably a very different LOR which stands out. So
Makes sense.
LOR is something which is not in your hands. So leaving that, SOP is something which you focus on, and
Yeah,
then resume is to basically highlight whatever you have said in the SOP.
yeah.
Uh, SOP, you would have spoken about why you did bachelors, what was the story,
Got it.
and then you would say what sort of work experience, in case you have work experiences or internships, you talk about that, and then you build up all the story, and in the end say that what is lacking now and why masters is the answer to it.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's why I think I brought my SOP. First I spoke about I did bachelor's in this, it was great. Okay, so I got this job, I was doing
yeah,
this, I did internship, learned
yeah.
a lot of things, it was great, my job was going great, but then what happened and what is the solution to that?
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So
Yeah.
hence I wanted to pursue my masters in this, and I think Georgia Tech would be a great fit. Something like that. That's
Got
how
it.
the story should probably go. That's how my story went.
Yeah,
So then probably resume is something which highlights all of those things
right.
in a greater detail. It tells you what you did your bachelor's in. It talks about your various internships, your various projects, your various
Yeah,
work experiences you've had, various firms you've worked for, any sort of outside extracurricular activities you've been involved in, and stuff
correct.
like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's my take. I could probably elaborate more, but I think this is good enough. There
yeah,
are a lot of people who have spoken about a lot of things. So I think
yeah, yeah. I think this
this
is
is
a
my
very
take
good
on it.
insight on how to approach it, and the priority list that you mentioned is also very helpful, according to me. And talking about your interests and how you put forward that interests, it is a
I'm
personal
sorry,
growth.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, yeah,
Just one thing I forgot to mention about LOR.
yeah.
In case you have work experience, always try to get that balance. Try and get some recommendations from your professor as well as from
Got
your
it.
manager.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah,
might help. So that way they know that people in different probably, how can I say this, people at different places are evaluating you, and they all feel a particular they may not feel the same, but then they have certain things to highlight
similar
about.
experiences. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Makes sense.
just ensure, in case you have work experience, if you have significant work experience, probably
Yeah,
6 months, 7 months, 8 months,
yeah.
I don't think a recommendation might be good. But then if you have spent some significant time, just ensure that you have a good recommendation from your
Industry
firm as
field
well,
also. Yeah,
whichever
yeah,
firm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a great starting point for the next question, for the follow-up question. So you personally went forward with working before applying for masters, and that kind of justified your career choices and knowing what you wanted to do, and you could craft an SOP where you try to bring in this point where you spoke about how your work experience and your interests have been aligned with the coursework that you're trying to apply for, right? So uh, walk me through the journey of how you explored this interest and focus area, and at if there was any point where you decided that this is definitely a career that I would like to work in, and this is a career opportunity that's viable for my uh, my future prospects.
Well, great question. So I think I might probably have to start from my second year of engineering.
Got
because
it.
that's when I got introduced to industrial engineering.
Yeah.
And industrial engineering, you could probably get into manufacturing or probably get into some planning and
Right.
different sort of roles, forecasting, planning,
Yeah.
optimization. So a
Right.
lot of things you could do. So from the second year to fourth year, you learn a lot of things and you
Right.
identify which one you like the most.
Yeah. The lateral
So
approach, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, second year was filled with a lot of mechanical engineering. At
Got
times I didn't enjoy it.
it.
So similarly, the third year and fourth year, lot related to engineering management,
Yeah.
lot on OR, operations research, and lot on some
Got
few parts of supply chain and everything.
yeah.
So that's when I saw supply chain, and that's when I got interested. I was extremely interested in this particular field called supply chain,
Yeah.
and that was one part which focused on an entire process, just not on a particular probably subset of a particular, or even in an organization when you look at a footprint, it does not just focus on one part. It looks at
Yeah.
the entire footprint and
Right.
sees how a process is and how can we improve a process.
Right.
So and also another way of looking at it is a supply chain is probably an evergreen line. It's going to be there always.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Customers are
Definitely.
going to need products, customers are going to need services,
Yeah.
and it has to be delivered to them
Yeah.
irrespective of whatever mode it is.
Correct.
So so looking at all of those aspects, the interest in a particular field grows. You
Right.
see a lot of opportunities. You see you have some amount of interest. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to say, oh wow, supply chain very interesting. That's what I want to get into. You also
Yeah.
you also
Yeah.
look at your future opportunities. You want to see, okay,
Exactly.
this
Exactly.
got some opportunity. It's going to take you to in this journey, and it's going to
Yes.
help. It's going to help you get somewhere.
Yeah.
So all of those influences develops your interest in a particular field. That was
Correct.
similar.
Yeah.
It was a similar story for me.
Got it.
But then after that, I got a job,
Yeah. Yeah.
and no job is exactly related to what you're interested in
Yeah.
or exactly related to what the company does.
Yeah.
If you probably go and work for an automobile manufacturing company, you're not going to be the one who's going to be designing cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might be working for the firm, you might be doing something in a very small way, but then you're not going to get that full experience of designing something or making something. So similar for me as well. So when I went to KPMG, I was doing more into data analytics and more on accounting, but then it was with
Got it.
supply chain related data. So
Got it.
it was not completely relevant, but I was still staying in that
On that
domain
one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So I always feel like if you have to get a great admit, you have to ensure that you stick to a particular field as you move along.
Exactly.
It increases your
Yeah.
chances.
Yeah.
So that way I stayed in supply chain, and then when I came here, I got to learn a lot about supply chain, and US has a great industrial engineering and supply chain market. So
Right.
there are a lot of opportunities. So that's why uh, I I I was like, in the sense, I didn't have any other options. I had to come to the US because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this is where there's a lot of jobs for industrial engineers are. In case if I had to go to a different and country, I might have to think about my program and think if I
Definitely.
have
Yeah.
to do something different.
Yeah.
So that way, uh, I was interested in supply chain. I did something related to supply chain. I won't say I did supply chain when I
Yeah.
worked. It was a bit different, but
Correct.
then it's about how much you get involved in what aspects of your job. You want
Right.
to ensure that you stay relevant at some point. So you
Right.
just want to be ready. You should be ready to learn even at your job. Be ready to ensure that you move yourself to a domain
Yeah. Yeah.
in which you like. So
Yeah.
that way I stayed with supply chain, and then I moved forward and did my master's in supply chain.
Great. Great. So it's really interesting to know how your career choices developed and what are the factors that you considered while ensuring that this is something that you would like to pursue in life. And definitely, these are pointers that will apply to almost everyone who are trying to think about career prospects. And thank you so much for the wonderful insights. And last but not the least, definitely would love to talk about, where do you see your future prospects in terms of how Georgia Tech as a university provides you, and the coursework that you have chosen and the job that you've gotten right now. So what are the future prospects that you look forward for?
Well, I'm in a field which has which involves with a lot of planning and a lot of high level decisions.
Right.
So I feel like it's an extremely interesting field to be in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's tremendous amount of growth because you're interacting a lot with senior management and making a lot of big decisions for the company.
Yeah.
So, for example, to give you a very small example, for supply chain, where should a factory be? How should the products reach customers? These are decisions which can go way up the ladder, right?
Right.
From and with respect to operations, there are a lot of decisions which are taken by the senior management. So this
Correct.
increases your interaction with senior management. So
Yeah.
tremendous growth in this field.
Correct.
So I would probably see myself probably in a few years. I might see taking up some leadership roles,
Yeah.
and being involved in a lot of supply chain in decision making process.
Got
But
it.
with respect to Georgia Tech and how it has helped, and where I see with respect to this future right now, the near
Yeah.
future, I feel like since I've got an offer with a big product based company, I think I've got a great product line, and there are a lot of opportunities for me to learn and also grow along with the firm. So I think right now I would just be focusing on learning and
Right.
continue to learn
Yeah.
and see what the how the job in India is.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't
Yeah.
think I have anything else to add about this
Yeah.
aspect. But yeah, but really excited about the next journey.
Yeah. All right, then. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast and taking time off your busy schedule. And there are so many students on campus who are in mechanical and who are looking forward to streams like supply chain management for pursuing their master's degree. And what you said today is definitely an eye opener on many aspects. And you've given so many pointers for students to inculcate during their whole process of admissions. So thank you so much for this podcast. Would love to have another podcast with you where we talk about many different things about how your work experience was in KPMG and how that was relevant to your coursework. And we'll talk once more. And thank you so much for coming on this.
No problem. Thank you so much. And in case anyone wants to reach out to me, then they can as well. I'm happy to help everyone. So yeah, really looking forward to this. Thank you,
Thank you
and
so much.
good luck to you as well.
Yeah.